Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Pops Reviews, and I'm back here with a review. And this is on the Pandora's Box 6. Now, I had a previous video on this before regarding. I had purchased. This is the 2019 Pandora's Box, and I had purchased the wireless version of it, which is a pretty recent addition that they've made to their Pandora's boxes, where you could actually play it wireless. You don't need a cord to hook up to the fight stick here. So I was interested in that. I really liked that, because you don't have to worry about a cord attaching to your fight stick. You can just kind of, play your fight stick kind of wherever you like, I guess, within a certain range. So that really appealed to me, and I decided to get this version. So upon getting it, as you watched my last video, for some reason my fight stick was not hooking up with the motherboard. So the motherboard is what comes with the Pandora's box, and I'll just show you quickly here if you didn't see the last video. Okay, so this is the Pandora's box motherboard here. Okay, so this is what receives the HDMI cable is in the back here, and then you have your USB, which has all the games, and then your power source, and then you have your other different plugins like for a computer monitor, as well as your settings. If you want to change settings on the Pandora's box, you press this button while it's on, and then you're able to get into your settings to change your buttons and whatever other different type setting, like for coins and for the machine and whatnot. So my Pandora's box, when it came, it wasn't hooking up. It wasn't connecting with this fight stick. I was very frustrated. I was trying to contact 3A Games. They're the people that sold the Pandora's box, and yeah, and just let you know, if you want an official Pandora's box, if you want this type of box, you have to get it from, you have to order off AliExpress, or uh, possibly you could get it off maybe eBay. But usually if you buy it from like Amazon, you're probably getting a knockoff or somebody else's version. So these guys are the official place to get it is AliExpress. And so just to make it short here, so when you purchase it off there, they have a message center that you could talk to someone in China, and usually, in China, they're up, obviously in the later hours, maybe from 8 o'clock. Like I'm in Canada, I'm in Central Canada, so maybe from like 8 o'clock Central Time, you might be able to contact someone at a reasonable hour. But you're not going to contact them in the morning because they're sleeping at that time. So I was able to message them, and they were, they contacted me. We were kind of messaging back and forth, and I was telling them the wireless wasn't working. And with the wireless, what happens is, in this box, like if you bought the box as a plug and play without the wireless, then you would have the processor would be in the box. But because this is a wireless, processor is really in the motherboard, and what's in this box is actually the transmitter. So the transmitter actually has if I was to unscrew, there's 3 screws on this here. Here's one of the screws here. So to get into this box, you need like one of the star screwdriver, and then you'd open up the 3 screws, and then inside there's a transmitter box, a rectangle box, and in that box you'd have to open that up with your screwdriver. It takes the same star pointed screwdriver for all the screws, and then you open it up, and then you open up the transmitter box, and then inside that box you'll find your circuit board, and then there's also a place for the battery. Now the battery, advertised on the 3A, official Pandora site, AliExpress, they advertise that they don't ship their Pandora's boxes with batteries. So what it is, it's a 2-pin battery, like that you would attach to a circuit board, or looks like something you'd have like on a phone, or in the old school phones. And something you probably buy at like Circuit City or that type of place, possibly. So it's supposed to have it's supposed to be attached to that to get this running, and they advertise that they don't ship the battery, but I was somehow maybe fortunate or lucky enough that they did ship it with a battery. So lucky for me, if you don't get yours with a battery, like I said, they don't advertise that they do ship with a battery. So I was just lucky enough to have a battery with mine, and I charged it up. I was taking pictures to show them, hey, the battery's connected and that. I had taken the battery out, put it back in, and I had fully charged it up. I had charged it up the night before. I put back in the charge plug, and then I was trying it one more time, and lo and behold, boom, it turns on. It was work. Well, it turned on before, but the controller started working, and I was so excited. And now I'm going to show you guys my Pandora's box working. So this is the motherboard here. I'm going to turn it on. Then you see it lights up. There's the switches at the back, and then you see the screen here. So then oh, I put on the power on my box here.
Pandora box 6. Breathe never ends.
So there's a tagline, and then also you can see the tagline's on the box here as I've been filming this here. So as you can see now, it's lit up here. I've turned on the box. The power button here is lit up, and as you can see here, it works fine. I'm moving the joystick. You're hearing the clickiness. You go by the pages, and there's 1,300 games on this thing. So I've been playing it, and then this here, you could also add games here. So I've added 4 games: Mikey, Ring King, Tech Mobile, and Real Ghostbusters. That they actually weren't on this system. So I actually added those games, and they show up here on the last set of pages. So the last game is 1304. And then, so like I said, you have your categories. You have your fighting games, and you could go by genre. So you have your fighting games. They have the dual swords there, and then if you go further in, let's just say, then you have those flags. That shows you they're more of an action adventure game. If you don't want to search by the genre, you can actually press the start button on the Pandora's box here. Okay, and then it takes you to these categories here. So you can search by fighting games. There's 218 games under fighting. Action, 333 games. Shooters, 298 games of shooters on here. 123 sports games and 328 puzzles games. So you could search by category if you want, if you don't want to go through all the pages. Or you could also search, if you move the joystick over, you could search alphabetically. So if you're looking for a certain game, it goes from A to Z, and then also you have your numbers. So if you're looking for a game like 1944, let's say, you just press the button, and then boom, the numbers come up. So there's 1942, 1941, etc., etc. So you could search by that way as well, and like I said, you can go back to the menu there by hitting the start button, and I just have it, like, unless you're looking for a certain type of game, I just search by the genre. But if you're looking for that game and don't want to go through all the menus, then searching out, that'll save a lot of time to search alphabetically or just by the genre itself. So yeah, another thing I did, like I said, there's a settings button on the actual motherboard. So if you want to change your button configuration, which I did, because if you look on the box itself, before they used to have the main A button was to choose your game, and then the B button would be to back out. I switched it around where I kind of moved everything. So now the A button is over here, B button, and this is actually more of the Street Fighter configuration where it works out to be low punch, medium punch, high punch, low kick, medium kick, high kick. So I switched the buttons to that kind of configuration, which you could do in the settings menu under button configuration, and you could also test out your buttons to make sure everything is working under, it's called an I/O test. So, and there's many other things you could change in the settings, but I'm not going to really play around with the settings too much. I just wanted to give you just an overview of this is the system. Again, it's a metal. This is a metal casing, and like I said, the only thing that's really in here is the transmitters. You can swap buttons. They give you two buttons with this system if you saw my last video or other people's videos. And then you get all kinds of different plugs and chargers and everything for this. The buttons on here, you really need to use the pause exit button to get out of the games. You can pause your games. And then that's really it for those buttons, really. Apparently these other ones are really used if you're using a PS3 or an Xbox. PS3 or the Xbox. You could connect it and use it as a fight stick, but apparently this is not really a good. It doesn't really work well with those systems. So if you're really buying this, you're really buying it for, the nostalgia of the arcade games. So if you, like I'm saying, if you're gonna buy this, buy it for arcade games, not because you can connect it to your PS3 as a fight stick. There are other better solutions out there for buying fight sticks for your newer systems. So again, like I said, this is 1,300 games on here, and you're getting all these old school arcade games. You have all your fighting games, and then you see the little videos that show you what they look like, and I just for me, to play over 1,300 games, I'll never have the time to play all 1,300 of these games. So this is just crazy, to have a system like this and to be able to have all these games loaded on this system. For me, to play, these games that were part of my childhood is great. I was excited for this. And another thing I want to mention about this system. I know there's the arcade 1-up systems that are out right now, and I'm a Canadian, so for us Canadians, we can't really get our hands on those systems, only through Walmart, and they only have a select few. They've released their second wave of arcade 1-ups with Mortal Kombat and Golden Tee and a few other games. I can't remember offhand. So, and those games right now, like the first wave Street Fighter, is $429. So it's a lot of money for those arcade 1-up systems. I like them. I do want to eventually get them in my own home, but if you're wanting something, of arcade type nostalgia, and this is maybe a way to go. This, for me, this costed almost close to $300, but I was paying extra for the wireless, so you could get it for cheaper if you just want to get it as a plug and play option. Like I said, just the HDMI, they'll have a slot in the back here for an HDMI, and then you connect it to your TV, and then it's all the games will be loaded on a processor that'd be built in. But I wanted the wireless, so this is the way I went, and it costs a little more. But in the end, I'm getting 1,300 games, all types of fighters, shooters. If you buy an arcade 1-up machine, you're only getting 3 to 4 games at most on a machine, and and it's a whole lot cheaper for this than the arcade 1-up. So like I'm saying, like if you want one of those machines, you're not able to get your hands on one, maybe this is a more cost-effective way to have the arcade experience in your home. So I've done a lot of testing of these games. I've played a lot of these different games. They all work great. Some lag here and there with the odd game. I think, but some of them are just naturally lagging anyways to begin with in the arcade. So I'll just maybe try a game here just so you can see what it's like. I don't want to play any of the Street Fighter games. Lots of people always show off the Street Fighters and Mortal Kombats. So let me maybe go to this select screen here, and I'll go to R here, and maybe I'll play a game. I was a fan I like the sports games and that. I like to fight it, I like the beat 'em ups, but like I said, there are other videos out there where people show off a lot of the fighters and beat 'em ups, like the Final Fights and the Street Fighters and the Mortal Kombat and that. So I'm just gonna show off. Here's a game that I liked, Roller Games. It was an old school. It was an old school show that was on in the 80s, and all I'm doing right now is I'm hitting the coins here that adds to the coin credits, and then you just hit the start button. Okay, so then you have your teams here. I usually go with the T-Birds. They were the popular good guy team on the show. This is like just a roller derby game, beat 'em up. I'm just gonna try and play this in one hand as best I can.
Here we go.
I'm gonna try and do as best I can one hand. And then, yep, just fight it out here. This game, you're just trying to beat the guys up and get as many points as you can to the other team. You beat up their skater. Oh, getting beat up here. Oh, the guy got knocked out. Oh, there he is. Okay. So, as you can see, it plays really well. Speed's good. Emulation is good. Just like I remembered in the arcade. And then, like I said, you could pause the game here. And then, so if you had to do something, you could pause it. You can come back to it. And you could exit out to another game. The only thing you cannot do with this is you cannot save your games. So that's another point, that you cannot save games on this. You have to, let it probably run or pause it like this. And come back to it if you want to come back to where you're playing. So it does not save games, but you can add games to this. So like I showed you earlier, I added 4 games on here. So it has a capacity. I can't remember the exact numbers for the MAME. You could add MAME arcade games, Final Burn Alpha games, I believe PS1 games as well. But I don't really want to add PS1 games. I'm here for the arcade games. This is what I bought this for. So as you can see, it plays pretty well. Maybe I'll try another game just so you get the idea of it. I'll try Samurai Showdown as a fighting game. Yeah, so, and then in the options, like I said, you have the option if you don't want to have the coin system going, that you could just, adjust that in the option screen. Yeah, so this is a really good game. They just released, the newer version on the recent consoles of late, Samurai Showdown. I haven't really played a lot of this, so I look forward to actually playing a lot of these games, because I never really got a chance to back when. I always was more into the sports, the wrestling. So I look forward to playing more of these Samurai Showdown, King of Fighters, Fatal Fury kind of games as well on here. So let's just get to a guy here. This looks like a cool guy. Let's get to the fighting. So again, I'm just playing with one hand here, so don't mind me. As you can see, it plays really well. The emulation is good, fast. The controls are great. The buttons are clicky. getting beat up here. So anyways, you get the gist of it. Let's exit out. So yeah, this is the Pandora's Box 6. Again, this is the 2019. This is the Spider-Man version I bought here. This is one of the newer boxes that they have for 2019. And again, you could buy this from AliExpress online. And like I said, you have your two joysticks, buttons, 6 buttons. They have an 8-button version, but what do you need the 8-button version for it? 6 buttons are good enough usually for what you need. So again, I give this a really, really good thumbs up. Like I said, if you couldn't afford an arcade 1-up, this is actually probably a better way to go to get the arcade experience. So anyways, thank you for watching my review here. My time is almost up with my camera, so thanks for your time, and I just hope this helps someone out there, and hopefully if you want to have any reviews of any other games on here, just leave a comment. Thank you for